Ganesh, I'll move to you now. In fact, I saw an interesting post from you, by the way. It's very timely for this conference, I guess. You make a mention of data quality, right? I'm quoting you here. As organizations push to move into data maturity, there is a very interesting pull effect that can aid them. I'm closing quote. And you make a mention that leaders play a big role on this trail. So can you present that perspective for us today?
Yeah, sure, Sandeep. At Gramna, we provide decision science advisory to our clients, helping them get value from data, define a roadmap, and also help with adoption and culture. So it's very close to what we are talking about today. And every organization actually moves through 3 distinct stages. So when they have data and reporting, they start moving towards advanced analytics to get better insights. That's a push. And then once you have the insights, it's important that everyone consumes it. Everyone in the organization should be able to understand it. So that's where data storytelling and beyond visualization, there's a push. And the third stage, once you have storytelling, you need to make sure that it reaches all parts of the organization. So that's where every employee can make use of it. So that's where a data culture, a push towards that happens. And at each of these stages, there's an interesting force on the reverse side, a pull effect which comes in. And this is something which many organizations miss. And this is very important to notice. And this usually sets in after some effort and some persistence, because this doesn't show up immediately. For example, when you're moving towards advanced analytics, there is a demand for better data, better quality data. That's when your insights can be actually used, and you can depend on them. And Ravi spoke about integrity of data. So that's that demand for better quality data comes in when you go towards advanced analytics. And AI demands a lot of data. So if you don't have good quality labeled data, AI is just not possible. And when you move from insights to storytelling, better stories and engaging stories need strong insights. Something has to be unusual. So there's a demand for better insights, and again, in turn, better quality data. And finally, when you are moving towards data culture, if everyone in the organization starts talking data and using it for decision making, then they would demand better storytelling. They would demand better visuals for them to consume. So that way, there is a demand for storytelling, for insights, and in turn data. So that way there is a reverse effect that starts coming in. And this is very important to notice. And leaders play a very important role in nurturing it. And when we work with organizations, we often tell our sponsors that don't just ask for budget from the executives, ask for that time as well, because the role of executives is very, very important in the early stages. And we have a heuristic to determine how successful a project can be, and we try to influence it. And the heuristic is that the greater the attendance of executives in a kickoff workshop and in the early stages of a project, that much successful the project would be. So the role of executives cannot be understated. So it's particularly very important. Most of these initiatives are driven top-down. A role of executives is important to define the right objective. What is the business impact we want to create with data and analytics? So that's where executive's role starts. And a second point where it is equally important is to set a culture of data. So a culture needs a lot of leadership efforts, and it needs driving it and showing and setting an example. So that's another area where executives have to play a role. And while their involvement is there throughout, specifically in defining strategy and the time of data culture, to make sure that they nurture these forces, the pull effect, while they are pushing up towards data maturity.